Welcome, my dear friends, to the 42nd class of the Bhagavad Gita. We are studying chapter 5. In the last class, we studied from shloka number 1 to 7. So before we go ahead with our study, we will revise those shlokas and we will create a flow of understanding so that we can, imbibe the continuous teaching into a thread-like fabric and which goes more into our understanding. So in shloka number 1, Arjun begins with a question, as always. He says, "O Krishna, you speak of renunciation of actions, meaning karma sannyasa. At the same time, you advise their performance, meaning karma yoga. Of these two, which is the better path? Please tell me for certain." And then, of course, in the next verse, Sri Krishna replies to Arjuna. The blessed Lord answered, "Salvation is found by both renunciation and performance of actions. That means by both karma sannyasa and karma yoga. But of these two, the yoga of works is better than renunciation of works." So as we discussed last time, why is karma yoga better than karma sannyas? Is because we have so many samskaras and vasanas hidden inside of us that it is only by working in this world with the right attitudes and with attunement with divine will that we are able to wipe away those vasanas and samskaras from our chitta, from our mind. And it is only in that pure mind that we are able to easily see the reflection of the Lord in our own self. Now, how is this different from karma sannyasa? And also he's saying that karma sannyasa will also lead to salvation. So to understand this, let us just take the example of a simple lake, of a water body. Now think of a clear lake in which you are able to see the reflection of the sky. The lake is very still. The water of the lake is very clear. The reason why it is very clear is because it is fed by a subtle mountain stream, not like a big river. Otherwise, it will have so many rivulets and waves. But by a very small stream, fresh water keeps entering this lake. And also this lake has a small exit from where smoothly the water keeps running. So in effect, what we have is a beautiful lake, a very crystal clear lake, and without any movement. And in that, just visualize the reflection of the deep blue sky. Now, what happens is if you cut off the stream of water coming into the lake and going out of the lake, the water of the lake will become stagnant. Now, once the water of the lake will become stagnant, then what will happen? On the surface, we will have certain plants like water hyacinth, and we will have certain algae, which will start to cover the surface of the lake. And as the surface of the lake gets covered, it is obvious that you are not going to be able to see the reflection of the deep blue sky on the surface. Now, what do we do if we want to see the sky or the reflection of the sky? So there are two ways. So what is the one way is that, you put in self-effort and you start clearing of the algae and you start clearing of the water hyacinth. And then again, you are able to see that beautiful reflection in the water. The other way is forget the lake, forget the algae over it, and just start looking up into the sky and look at the infinite. So now this is a very gross example, but this is what actually is the difference between karma yoga and karma sannyas. So now that lake is actually our own mind. So that is the Mansarovar, the lake of our mind. So what happens in the lake of our mind is certain thoughts are coming, certain thoughts are going, there is a continuous stream, and we are unable to still it. And therefore, what do we need to do? So even though we are unable to still it, but a lot of, vrittis are happening. There are so many whirlpools at the edge of the lake where there is scum, where the twigs are getting entangled, and lot of debris is coming on that lake. So now to remove the debris of the lake, and what is the debris actually in the lake of the mind? It is our own desires, our own attachments, our own likes, our dislikes, and so many the positive and the negative virtues and vices that are present in each human being. So because of all of this debris in the lake, we are unable to see the reflection of the Atma or the soul within our mind. So then there are two ways. So one way is that by performing karma yoga in this world, we start to remove that debris from the lake. And simultaneously, we do the other action of meditation. So we do Raja Yoga. So simultaneously, when we do Nishkam karma within the world and we do our meditations, then two things are happening simultaneously. One is that the debris is being actively removed by performance of works, and the other is that we are consciously trying to still the waters of the lake. In both cases, what will happen is that you will be, not only will you be able to see the reflection of the Atman within your own mind, and you will realize that you are the Atman, but also simultaneously you will realize that all of this is one. Now, the way of the karma sannyasi is, he says, okay, let me forget all this debris in the mind. Let me just keep focusing on the sky itself. So he wants to just focus on the sky. And what will happen eventually, even just focusing on the sky and going into the infinite, he will realize that everything is a part of the infinite. So he will also lead to the same goal. But this is more difficult to do because we are so entangled in the world. We are working so much with the senses. Just looking at a blank sky is very, very difficult for us. We need to look at the variety of the world. We need to get involved with the world. And because it is our need, and therefore Karma Yoga becomes an easier and better path for us than Karma Sannyasa. And if we were to compare it at the metaphysical level, at the level of the chakras, the Karma Sannyasi says, okay, let me forget all the other chakras. I am going to only focus at my Agya chakra and I will forget the rest of the chakras. The Karma Yogi is acknowledging the fact that there are so many vrittis and samskaras lodged in the astral spine and in the chakras that unless he works with them, he will not be able to focus at the Agya chakra in the first place. So that is why Krishna says for most people, Karma Yoga is the better path, because not only does it allow you to work in the world because you're functioning through the senses, so it appears to be, more of a real working, but also it helps you to simultaneously do things. Two things. One is removal of the vrittis, and secondly is the secondary focusing on the spiritual eye. And on the other hand, if we were to ask to only focus at the spiritual life for 24/7 without any preparatory karma yoga practice, we won't be able to do so. So this is why it is said that karma yoga is better than karma sannyasa for most people. Okay. This brings us to shloka number 3, in which Krishna continues to tell Arjuna. He says, O mighty armed Arjuna, he is to be known as a constant renunciate, a nitya sannyasi, who is easily liberated from all entanglements, who has neither likes nor dislikes, because he is unbound by the dual nature of existence. So now, let us understand what happens when we are able to rise above our likes and dislikes. So it's very easy to understand that if we do not have any fixities on attachments and repulsions, then our emotional reactions would be very, very different from what they are in the current state. And that would also mean that the external circumstances, events, or people around us will not have so much power over us as it has now. So right now, if we like something, we jump up with no joy at seeing that thing or person. And if we dislike somebody or something, then we like squirk and we cringe and so on. So we have a lot of emotional reactivity. But if we were to remove our likes and dislikes, if we were able to see everything as one, then our emotional reactivity would change, our response to the world would change, our flexibility and adaptability to circumstances would change, our perspective of the whole situation would change, and we would easily go into the state of even-mindedness and cheerfulness, which is, of course, what is Krishna is saying as Nitya Sannyasi. We will become a renunciate automatically. And this likes and dislikes, we think they are very subtle and we will easily be able to get over them, but it is not so easy. So sometimes when we are not able to get over them, we can pray to the Lord. And actually, this reminds me of a prayer that as a child we used to do at home, and it's a beautiful prayer. And I'll not do the whole thing, but I will come to the point which is in question right now. So the poem, the song was, I'm sure many of you would have heard this in your childhood as well. It says, "Sukhi base sansar sab, dukhiya rahe na koi. Ye abhilasha hum sab ki, mere Bhagwan puran hoye. विद्या बुद्धि तेज बल सबके भीतर होए, दूध पूत सन धन धान्य से वंचित रहे न कोई। आपकी भक्ति प्रेम से मन होवे भरपूर, राग द्वेष से चित मेरा koson bhage dur. So why I picked up this song is because of this last line of this song. Rag dvesh se chit mera koson bhage dur means may I rapidly run away from my likes and dislikes, and may my heart be full of your love and devotion. And of course, the rest of the prayer is for everybody, that everyone may have knowledge, everyone may have strength, everyone may have devotion. May no one suffer. May everyone have the benevolence of life. May everybody be prosperous and abundant. But importantly, may I not have any likes and dislikes. So if you're not able to get over them yourself, then it is a nice thing to pray to the Lord to take you to that state of even-mindedness and cheerfulness. Okay, so in shloka number 4 and 5, what does Krishna say? He says, not sages, but children speak of differences between the path of wisdom, that is Shankhya, and the path of spiritual activity, that is Yoga. He who is truly established in either one receives the fruit of both. So here he is equalizing the philosophy of Shankhya and yoga. And how is that same? Because eventually the goal is the same. So he says only foolish people or only children misunderstand them to be separate things. They are actually one. In shloka number 5, he says, the state which is attained by the wise, means the Jnana Yogi, is also attained by the Karma Yogi. He has truth who beholds as one both wisdom and right action. So again, an equalizer between Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga. And if we were to understand it at a very, very simple daily life level, we can easily understand that unless we have wisdom, how will we perform right action? And the reverse is also true. Unless we perform some kind of right action which appears to be right to us at our level of understanding, and we may or may not make mistakes, and suppose we do make mistakes, we will learn and have more knowledge, have more experience, and then we will become wise. So we see that action and wisdom are very, very intricately related, and one cannot be exclusive of the other. Especially when we are living in this world where karma is the rule. You have to act, so might as well act with wisdom. And the highest wisdom is love. Highest wisdom is joy. So you anyway have to live this life. Master said you anyway have to live it. Why not live it the right way? And what is living the right way? Why not live it with cheerfulness and even-mindedness? Whatever work you have to do, you have to do. You can either do it crying or you can do it laughingly or cheerfully. So the choice is always ours. Okay. So in shloka number 6 and 7, now again, Krishna comes up with many, many extra things. So every shloka has so much to learn from. And even if you were to really, really imbibe one shloka, that has enough power to enlighten ourselves. But the thing is, we read it casually, we listen to it casually, and we say, intellectually, yes, yes, I do understand, I must do this. But then when it comes to really applying it and living the scripture, then that is where we kind of, take a step back and, I will do it tomorrow. Of course, it is there. Next year, probably I'll follow this. So why not today? Why not now is the question. So shloka number 6, Krishna says, renunciation, O mighty armed Arjuna, is difficult to achieve without God-united actions or meditations. By the practice of yoga, the Muni quickly attains the infinite. So he's clearly saying, unless you are meditating, unless you are performing the right kind of action, you will not be able to attain renunciation. And without attaining renunciation, which he is saying nitya sannyasa, how will you come to the state of being a sage, being the wise one who knows everything? So therefore, renunciation is important, but for renunciation, karma yoga is also important and meditation is also important. In shloka number 7, Krishna says, no karmic involvement touches the sanctified man of action who is engaged in divine union or yoga, who has conquered ego consciousness, who is victorious over his senses, and who feels his self as the self existing in all beings. So in this shloka, Krishna is basically describing a person who is intensely active in this world, but yet he has no karma, no sin, no taint. So how is this possible? That you are completely, active in this world, but you are not gathering any karma. And then the answer lies within the shloka. He says, for the one who is engaged in divine communion. So who is always meditating, who is practicing. So when I say always meditating, means always practicing the presence of God. So there are few hours in the day that we can meditate. There are others we have to perform our duties. There are others we can be prayerful. And even when we perform our duty, we can practice the presence of God. We can hold the thought of God all the time in our minds. The second is the condition is the one who has conquered ego consciousness. Now, is it easy to conquer ego consciousness? No, but it becomes easy once you have perception of the soul. So, if you are continuously meditating regularly with sincerity, you will start to experience yourself as the soul. And once that perception dawns upon you, you will automatically know that the ego is an illusion, and it will be easy to transcend the ego. Unless you have some taste of soul perception, it is very difficult to transcend the ego. And of course, soul perception can be had by all the ways, the paths of yoga, which is there, which is bhakti, which is gyan, which is karma, and which is raja. The third qualification is that the one who has conquered the mind and the senses. And finally, one who sees his self in the self of all. So that he feels the continuity of consciousness within his Atman and the Atman of the other. Why? Because there is a substratum of all of this drama, all of these variety is actually one. Now, if you have read the New Path or Conversations with Yogananda, or there are many other books which talk about Yogananda ji's experiences. And once a visitor came to Yogananda, and Yogananda ji said to that person, don't you have a sour taste in your mouth? And that person actually had a sour taste in his mouth. And he said, how do you know? So because then the answer was that because not only am I present in this body, he pointed to his body, but I'm present everywhere. The other thing that we have read about is that how Yogananda ji would say that I know the thoughts of each one of you. I know all thoughts that you think. Now, isn't that amazing? Now, how is it possible to know everybody's thoughts unless you are able to see the continuity of your mind with their mind, of your Atman with their Atman? So he could see his self in the self of all, and this is the qualification. Once you are able to do that, then automatically you qualify into the fact of knowing your true self and knowing God and becoming one with God. So our aim eventually is also that we know ourselves to be more than the limitation of the body, more than the limitation of this mind. So we have to understand that as souls, we are as omnipresent as God is, and that is the definition of self-realization, that we know it, we are convinced in our body and mind that God's omnipresence is our omnipresence, that the Atman and the Paramatman they are just one. Okay. So the yogi who achieves ecstatic union with God in meditation retains his soul perception in the performance of necessary duties and therefore becomes free from all good and bad karma. Okay, this brings us to the next shlokas, which is shlokas number 8 and 9. They have been taken up together and I will read them together. So first in Sanskrit, shloka number 8. नैव किञ्चित् करोमीति युक्तो मन्येत तत्त्ववित् पश्यन् शृण्वन् स्पृशन् घ्रन्न अश्ननाच्छन्न स्वपन् श्रवसन् 9 प्रलपन् विसृजन् गृह्णन् नुन्मेषन् निमिषन्नपि इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेषु वर्तन्त इति धारयन्. In Hindi, सत्य को जानने वाला ईश्वर से एक हुआ स्वयं ही यह अनुभव करता है मैं स्वयं कुछ नहीं करता. यद्यपि वह देखता है, सुनता है, छूता है, सूंघता है, खाता है, चलता है, सोता है, सांस लेता है, बोलता है, अस्वीकार करता है, पकड़ता है, अपनी आंखें खोलता अथवा बंद करता है, इस बोध के साथ कि ये प्रकृति द्वारा सक्रिय इंद्रियां हैं जो इंद्रिय विषयों के बीच कार्य करती हैं. In English, 8 and 9. The cognizer of truth, united to God, automatically perceives, I myself do nothing, even though he sees, hears, touches, smells, eats, moves, sleeps, breathes, speaks, rejects, holds, opens or closes his eyes, realizing that it is the senses activated by Prakriti that work amid the sense objects. Now, very, very interesting shloka. Now we, all of us, the jiva, so we are all jivas. The jiva thinks that it is a separate identity. It has a separate existence. And then because the jiva is bound to the body, and so whenever the body acts, the jiva thinks that I am acting. Whenever the mind thinks, the jiva thinks I am thinking. Now this identification, this overlap is because of ignorance. We are living under delusion. We are living in the cosmic hypnosis that we are separate individuals. And the Gita will strike at the root of this ignorance. So it is that only by continuous sadhana, and when the knowledge and the light of wisdom dawns upon us, that we see that the self, the atman, stands separate from the actions of the body, stands separate from the movement of the prana, it stands separate from the thoughts and emotions in the mind. So only by meditation and the dawning upon of wisdom this will happen. And all the previous shlokas, Krishna has taken the pain to explain that you must act in this world the way you should be acting in this world. And by that acting, you will gain knowledge, and by meditation, you will be able to understand the truth, and so on and so forth. And it is only when you understand the truth that you are a witness, that you are a seer, you are the subject, and everything else is the object. It is only then that you can truly say, I do nothing. I myself do nothing. So Master explains this very beautifully. He says, when man achieves ecstatic union with God, he loses all egotism and finds the true self, or the Atman, which instead of the ego is the true doer of all actions. The beginner yogi, means all of us, delusively perceives his body and mind as independent forces. But as he becomes more and more able to retain the consciousness of God, he understands clearly that it is the astral body of 19 elements, guided by the true self, which is the soul doer. When the devotee is working with the 5 instruments of sensory knowledge and the instruments of bodily execution, he should consider God to be working through those 10 instruments of cognition and activity. So simply ask yourself, are you running your nervous system? Answer is no. Are you responsible for the transmission of electrical impulses from one neuron to the other? No, you have no control. Are you responsible for the pumping of the heart blood into all the arteries and the fine capillary system that is there, and then the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide that happens in the lungs, and the purified blood then goes, and then all that blood goes into each and every of the trillion cells of the body. Their metabolism happens, and then carbonated blood comes back to the heart, it is pumped. So are you making this happen? No. You only eat and put food into your mouth, and after that what happens to the food, you have no idea how that food gets converted into it gets digested, it gets absorbed, it gets assimilated, how it is turned into energy, how the body cells are formed out of that food. Do you have any idea? You have no idea. Do you have any control? You have no control. Then how do we say I am the doer? Doer of what? If I am not running this bodily machine, if I do not know how the thoughts in my mind appear and disappear and what is their origin, then how can I say I am the doer? And Ramana Maharishi went into the root of this. He said, find out the I. If you think I am the doer, where is that I? No, search for that egoic I, and you will find that there is no egoic I. It is an illusion. It has been made to appear to us that I am a separate individual, though I am not. This all is Prakriti. This whole fabric is Prakriti. The whole fabric which contains all the beings on the planet, not only this planet, but all the planets in the universe and all the stars and all the multiverses. There is one fabric of which each one of us is a part. It's a fallacy to think that I exist separately or I can exist separately. And that is why the analogy of the wave and the ocean is always considered. I am just a wave on this ocean of existence. Each one of us is just a wave. And what is the truth about the wave? That it's going to be existing temporarily. It will rise and fall. But also, what is the other truth and the deeper truth about the wave? It is made of the same water of which the ocean is made. So if the ocean is existence, consciousness, bliss, so am I. In my true nature, I am existence, consciousness, bliss. But because I get falsely attached to this body-mind composition, and I think, oh, I am this body, I am this mind, and therefore the wave appears to have this story to tell, and we have all this drama, and we are so emotionally involved with this drama of life that we do not even ponder upon the question, who am I? From where did I come? Where am I going? Why is this drama all about? And so on and so forth. Therefore, we need to emotionally withdraw from all of this drama. Therefore, we need to meditate every time. If we want to know the truth, and only the truth will set us free, our suffering will not end until we know the truth that we are the Atman, until we know that we are bliss itself. And therefore, all our effort should be it should be in that direction in this lifetime. Why waste any moment of this life? Otherwise, the same story will go again in the next lifetime. So why not now? Give it your all. Why give it your all? Because we are all looking for happiness, and happiness, true happiness, will be found only when we find that we are the Atman. Then why are we wasting time in this alley and that alley and back alleys, and we are engaging in activities which are going to lead us to more births and deaths? We are not trying to understand with true wisdom what is the nature of action, what is the nature of this drama. So question, introspect, inquire, settle yourself in meditation, go within yourself. All the answer lies within. Okay. So then Master says, by living in this consciousness, the yogi dutifully acts out the part assigned to him on the stage of life. No matter what he does, he is free because he is acting in his true nature. So he understands the truth. Now, but this saying, that I myself do nothing, people can misuse this. So there is a warning and a disclaimer that comes with this. So if you are engaging yourself in sensory pleasure, and if you are doing the wrong things, you cannot run away with the fact saying, I do nothing. Why? Because you are having sensory pleasure with the sense of egoic I. So as long as you think you are this little ego, and as long as you think I want sensory pleasure and I want to do this, so then all the karmic reaction will come to you as a separate ego, because you are starting from ignorance. The truth is that you are not a separate ego. It only appears to be. But because you think you are separate, and because you say, I want this and I want that, so you will perform karma from that egoic point. And once you do karma, the result of that will come to that same egoic post. So it is only the Muni who has purified his chitta, only the Muni who has no personal desires and attachment, only the Muni who is Jitendriya, means who is victorious over his senses, can truly come to this situation where he can say, I myself do nothing. And actually, a little introspection will help us to find out that we actually are doing nothing. It is being done by the power of Prakriti. Everything is happening. And therefore, so many sages and the Upanishads say, don't take life so seriously. Withdraw from it. Just watch. Watch what is happening. And then, of course, once you watch for some time, you gain the wisdom that this is a drama, and then you play your part well. Till then, and before you understand what is happening, you get so engrossed in the movie, because this movie is true to our five senses. It is true to the level of our emotions and thoughts. It's a multi-dimensional movie happening at the same time. We are nothing but, a small part in a virtual reality, but we don't realize it. And we are so engrossed in it, and we think this is the all, be all and end all of my life, and that's it. This is the only life, this is the only planet, so we have very, very limited thought process, because we are given limited senses. But God has given us unlimited intelligence. God has given us unlimited willpower. God has given us power of free choice. Use the given intelligence, awaken the power of intuition, and know the drama that this is a drama, and know the truth of who you really are. This brings us to shloka number 10. Brahmanyadhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti ya lipyate na sapapena pamam trami vabhyasa. जैसे कमल पत्र जल से दूषित नहीं होता, वैसे ही वह योगी जो आसक्ति को त्याग कर अपने कर्म ईश्वर को अर्पित करता है, इंद्रियों को उलझने में नहीं फंसता. Like the lotus leaf that remains unsullied by water, the yogi who performs actions forswearing attachment and surrendering his actions to the infinite remains unbound by entanglement in the senses. Okay. So, of course, this example of the lotus leaf is very, very famous. It has, and the lotus is a very auspicious flower in most religions. And the example of the lotus leaf is important because one is that the lotus grows in muddy water. Secondly, is that if you see from the biology and the botany point of view, there is a coating on the leaf of the lotus which prevents it from getting wet, even though it is right there in water. So this is the example of the Muni who lives in this world, or the sage who lives in the world, the wise one who gains the knowledge of what Brahman is, who is, and what this drama is. So though he is living in the world, yet he is not soiled by any of the desires, the attachments, the likes, the dislikes, and he continues to exist in his own true center. And from there, he is able to enjoy the drama of life, but not be affected by it. Okay. Swami Vivekananda has said something very beautiful for this, and very simple actually, has been repeated over and over again. So if we want to live in this world, and if we want to do all the karma in this world, because it is our nature to get engaged. So, but the only condition is that if you withdraw your expectation from the world, if you loosen the grip that the expectation of a specific fruit of action that you have in your mind and your attachment, if you loosen that grip, then you will find that you can happily exist in this world. You will find that you can be very happy doing variety of actions. Even you can even have certain ambitions, knowing that of course they are en route ambitions, and yet you can passionately work for all of them. The simple condition is leave the fruits of action away. Don't think about the fruits of action. Do not have any expectations from this world. You are here, your energy is here, your love is here. Give it all to the universe. Stop asking what the universe is giving to me. Start asking, okay, I'm here, the universe is here. What is it that I can offer to the universe? And it is only when we offer to the universe do we feel a sense of satisfaction, do we feel a sense of fulfillment, a sense of happiness will come only when we ask that, what are we giving away from our own being? And the truth is, we are not only also owning ourselves. God is doing. Everything is being done by God. But if you can impartially allow that flow of energy and the work that is being happening through you, you can enjoy doing that. You will not be attached. You will not be, accruing karma. So, but it will also make this life worth living. So you can continue to do whatever you are doing. Just don't expect back and learn to just give freely. And you will find that your state of mind becomes happier and happier. Now, Master gives a deeper meaning to this stanza because a metaphysical thing comes in. When we say we want to do Nishkam Karma in the world, now Nishkam Karma is very, very applicable to our daily meditative practices. Even when we are performing any spiritual action, when we are doing our meditations, we should not have any condition. And that, I want to have this certain vision, I want to have certain experience in my meditation. No, do not have any expectation. And even if you do have certain visions or a certain phenomenon or an experience is happening, do not hanker after it. Do not be attached to it. Let it pass by. Know that your ultimate release lies in the realization that all of this is a drama, including your astral experiences. Eventually, from the phenomenon, you have to come down to the down or inward to the noumenon, which is the true existence, the absolute existence, consciousness, bliss, from where this whole drama is being projected. Unless you come back to your soul self, everything else has the capacity to draw you away out into the world, whether it is a physical world, astral, or causal world. And then you will then have to go through the same pleasure and pain sequence, which you want to avoid now. Okay. So Master clearly says one should bypass the miraculous phenomena one has in meditation until he reaches the universal essence. Now the simple step-by-step method of reaching this point is, as we have said earlier, is that first is to convert your selfish actions into unselfish actions. So whatever you're doing, stop saying, I will do this for myself. I want more money for myself. Even if I'm giving charity, I want to accrue good karma for myself. Just forget this. And there is a, beautiful, it's a difficult thought, but ask yourself, can you say that, can you offer your good karma for somebody else? Are you able to sometimes say, okay, the japa that I do today or the kriya yoga practice that I do today, I offer the good results of that to so and so person, or for so and so good, or for the good of all. I renounce the fruit of my own spiritual practice. This is not easy, because we say, I want moksha, I want this, I do want to do all this action for my own betterment, for my own upliftment. But it is even higher to say that I do this for the Lord, and the Lord does it through me. And whatever the Lord wants, if he wants me to offer these fruits of action to somebody, to someone, I offer it very, very easily. And this was one beautiful thing in the story of Angulimal. After he became the monk Ahimsak, it is said that he was traveling through the forest, and he was, he crossed a place where a lady was in labor, and she was in so much pain. The Angulimal's heart literally broke seeing that. And he ran to the Buddha. Ran to the Buddha and says, how can I help her? Then the Buddha said to him, he said, why don't you offer the merit of your good actions to her? So, but what he had doubt, he said, I have done so many bad actions. Where are my good actions? So to clear that doubt, the Buddha said to him, he said, why don't you say that ever since I have transformed myself, if I have done any good actions, I want to give the merit of all of that to that lady who is in pain, so that her suffering is relieved. Are we able to do that? Ask yourself. And if yes, then that means we are living in God's grace. Then definitely we are getting closer to God, because we are becoming more and more unselfish. And what does unselfishness means? Means understanding I don't exist as a separate reality, that all of this is one. Okay, so once we go towards unselfish actions, we go towards God-uniting actions, our mind and chitta is purified. Then, of course, we give up all the fruits of action. Then once we are able to do that, then you go into the world and do whatever you want. Nothing will touch you. In a sense, you will become a Jivan Mukta. So becoming a Jivan Mukta, what does that mean? That we have transcended the ego. It means that we are not getting any more fruits or karmic entanglements to us. So just by this practice of karma yoga, one can become a Jivan Mukta. And that is why Gita is so beautiful. It will talk about bhakti, and then it will tell you how bhakti will take you to salvation. It will talk about Gyan in all its aspects. It will tell you how it takes you to salvation. Here it is talking about Karma Yoga, and it is explaining how this too is taking you to salvation, and same for meditation or Raja Yoga. So this brings us to the next shloka, which is shloka number 11. कायेन मनसा बधया केवलैरिन्द्रियैरपि योगिना कर्म कुर्वन्ति संगम त्यक्त्वात्मशुद्धये। योगी जन आसक्ति का त्याग करके केवल शरीर, मन, विवेक अथवा यहाँ तक कि इंद्रियों के द्वारा अहम की पवित्रता के लिए ही कर्म करते हैं। For sanctification of the ego, Yogis perform actions solely with the body, the mind, discrimination, or even the senses, forsaking attachment, disallowing ego involvement with its attachments and desires. So, an important aspect comes in the point of desire and attachment. Okay, so here Krishna is explaining the art of proper action. So, if we want to transcend the ego, which is the goal, so we must give up all desires and attachments. Now, if you closely look at your life, all the pain in your life comes from attachment and expectation. Not only attachment and expectation from people, from situations, but from God, from the universe, from the world. We have so many expectations. The world should behave like this person should behave like that. And why is the world the way it is? Why is the climate like that? Why is the politics like that? Why is religion like that? Why is my boss like that? Everything about the world. So most of our pain, in fact, all of our pain comes from attachment. And so what happens? What is the relationship between desire and attachment? Master says attachment is the offspring of desire. Attachment gives birth to further desire, because once you have, attachment to something, you develop craving for something, then you want more of it or you want more variety of it. Attachment is not possible without desire, but desiring can be initiated without an obvious prior attachment. This is because of the ego's intrinsic attachment to material things. Okay. So now it's a very important aspect to understand. Every time we have a desire, and we have them all the time, right? So what happens? Every time you have a desire, Master says man puts a condition on himself which he will have to fulfill. That means you're going to be bound, whether it is a good desire or a bad desire. You have conditioned yourself. You say, unless I do this act, unless I finish this, no, I get what I want, till then I'm not going to be happy. So you have put a condition on your own happiness. Every desire is a burden that one has to work out at some future time. And that is why all scriptures, all religions will talk about desirelessness. Now, again, we have discussed this question many times, that how does one act in this world if one doesn't have any desire and ambition? We have answered this multiple times, and just putting in one line is that these are all en route, because only when you understand that the true goal is knowing who you really are, that you do continue to have these lesser ambitions in transactional world, but you always remember that they are only en route, they are only temporary, and your final goal and destiny lies in your self-realization. Okay. So Master then continues about desire. So first he says you are putting a condition on yourself. Second, he says it is a burden that you will have to fulfill. Then thirdly says even a forgotten desire continues to lurk behind the screen of man's subconscious, ready at any opportune moment to ensnare its host and exact its dues. So it's going to get you. It's going to get you. Therefore, best prevention is better than cure. So how will you not have worldly desires is the question, because the senses are looking, everywhere all the time. It's only when you can taste the joy of your own soul. Only then you will find that all that the world has to offer is a petty kind of a happiness. It is a lesser happiness. It is a temporary happiness. It will never give you complete fulfillment. Only when you have a standard of comparison between the bliss of the soul versus the pleasure of the world, only then can you say, I do not desire anything from this world. Once you have experienced the strong love that God has for you, even once if you have felt deeply God's love for you, you know that everything else is much lesser. It has no hold on you. Automatically you will say, no, Lord, I want you. I don't want anything from this world. But to be able to have that first experience of God's love for us, or of the experience of soul perception in meditation, you have to work hard. So that is why all the karma yoga is required. All that self-effort, the purusharth, the time, the energy, the dedication, the sincerity, all of that is required. Because once you build up that foundation, then the building gets ready, and then you know that, oh, God's joy is what I want. I do not want anything else. And then it is easy to give up desire and attachment. You cannot beat yourself to leave desire and attachment, but it is easily left away, left behind once you have tasted the bliss of the soul. And that is why Master insists, go for ecstatic communion with God. Practice meditation. Start living through your spiritual eye even during the day. Be inwards, go inwards, awaken your intuition, practice the teachings, live the teachings, do your energization, do the chant, practice the presence of God, and all of this will eventually work out. The Gita is promising us salvation. The Guru is promising us salvation, and it is putting only a few conditions on us. Do this, do that, have this attitude. If we can do that, then salvation is ours. And the fact that we are reading the Gita means we have already practiced certain self-restraint. We have actually developed certain discipline in our life, and we have that yearning for truth. So from here, let us use this current life, our current understanding, and the scripture as a springboard to, take that leap of faith into the infinite. Don't waste time, I would say. With every desire, man travels further from the natural peace of the soul, because desire's indiscriminate temperament makes him forget the purpose of his existence. He is led by attachment born of desire to cling to those things that are incompatible with his soul's nature. He prays for things that are even dangerous to his own peace. So, have you found yourself praying for things of this world, knowing or not knowing that it is actually you are praying against your own freedom, your own peace, and your own salvation? And thank God. So it is said that God fulfills all prayers, but thank God He doesn't fulfill them sometimes, because He knows what is good for us and what is not good for us. So is God not fulfilling our prayers? Actually, it is the Guru intervening for us. So the Gita will later tell you that God is completely impartial. You have made a prayer, it will be fulfilled. But the Guru is interceding for us. He decides whether we should have this desire fulfilled or not. And everything to the disciple comes through the Guru. And that is the grace. All the good things, all the bad things, all the lessons, everything is coming from God through the Guru. And the Guru is that step down transformer for us, who brings that electricity of God to toward the level of our nervous system where we can handle it. To our understanding, to our limited human understanding, the Guru has brought these teachings. He is the spoken voice of the silent, infinite Lord. So it is a great blessing to be a disciple of a true master. So Master says in his advice to us, let's listen to this carefully. The yogis should not perform any action instigated by egoism with its attachments and desires arising from the likes and dislikes of the heart. They should perform dutiful actions as inspired by God and the Guru, merely using in a non-attached way the instrument of the body, senses, mind, and intellect. Proper diet, postures, and Kriya Yoga is advised to purify the nerves so that they become spirit-bent channels, leading the consciousness away from the senses towards the atman. So we come to shloka number 12. Yukta karma phalam tyaktva shanti mapnoti naishtikim ayukta kamukarena phale sakto nibadhyate. ईश्वर से संयुक्त योगी कर्म फल से आसक्ति का त्याग करके अचल शांति प्राप्त करता है। वह मनुष्य जो ईश्वर के साथ एकत्व में नहीं रहता, कामनाओं द्वारा शासित रहता है, इस प्रकार की आसक्ति के कारण वह बंधन में रहता है। The God-united yogi, abandoning attachment to the fruits of actions, attains the peace unshakable. The man who is not united to God is ruled by desires. Through such attachment, he remains in bondage. So do we want the peace unshakable? Yes, yes, and yes. How do we get peace unshakable? When we give up desires and attachments. Simple question and answer in this shloka. We all are looking for peace, that perfect peace that passes all understanding. And the way has been told to us by the Gita. So, if we do not attach ourselves to the work that we do, then it will not have any binding effect on us. So, work with your hands, work with your feet, work with your talents, work with your mind. But do not think that I am doing and this is my work and this is what I want from it. I am simply enjoying the fact that I have a bodily machine through which I can operate in this world. And therefore, I will just do my work so that it increases the joy in me and it increases the joy in everyone. And the beautiful automatic law of karma which is there will automatically make sure that for your appropriate efforts, appropriate fruits will come, but you are not looking for them. That is how you will become unbound. You are free. You are simply creating happiness for yourself in this world. And the job that is being done will automatically create its own fruits, but you will not be karmically bound. So you will be able to enjoy the world and yet not be of it. Master says self-discipline or control of body and mind through the practice of right methods of meditation and body purification gives the devotee victory over the senses. When he is Lord of the senses, he becomes one with God and manifests infinite peace. He knows the earth to be a dream drama of divine activities. So again, an introspection for all of us. All the pain in our life is coming from our attachment to things, to people, to situations, and our thirst for fulfillment of desires and for pleasure. If we understand this truth, it's a very simple thing. Just ask yourself, what is giving me a lot of pain? Ask, you will find the answer. A certain clinging or craving is giving me that kind of pain. Just relax your hold on that. Stop demanding and waiting with a begging bowl that that thing will give you happiness. Let go. Let go of your clutches, of your clinging, of your craving from the things of this world. Once you let go of that attachment, you will find that there is instantaneous peace. Try it. Now, certain attachments are much stronger than others. So, for example, our attachment to our children and our family is much greater than attachment to certain things or certain situations. So, fight the easier battle first. It's not necessary that you say, okay, from today I let go of everything, I give up all my attachments. It is not possible. So, fight the lesser battle first, gain victory, little by little, start to renounce unnecessary desires and unnecessary situations. Once you gain victory, your willpower will also increase, and you will find that how giving up and letting go increases your peace. And that first direct experience of attaining peace by letting go will help you to let go of your attachments with the bigger things, with the closer things. It is a step-by-step process. It does not happen overnight. It takes time. Be patient with yourself, and you will find that you can give up all your attachments to this world. And the moment you do, you have this experience of peace, which cannot be had otherwise. Okay. So I'll just read the next shloka and we will go into detailed discussion next time. So shloka number 13, chapter 5. Sarva karmani mansa sanyasyaste sukham vashi navdware pure dehi neva kurvanna karayan. वह शरीरधारी आत्मा इंद्रियां जिसके वश में है, मन से सभी कर्मों का त्याग करके नव द्वारों वाले शरीर रूपी नगर में आनंद पूर्वक रहती है। ना तो वह स्वयं कर्म करती है और ना ही दूसरों यानी इंद्रियों से कर्म करवाती है। The embodied soul, controller of the senses, having mentally relinquished all activities, remains blissfully in the bodily city of nine gates. neither performing actions himself nor making others or the senses perform actions. So, what is this city of nine gates? This is the body. So, think of yourself or the body as a fort. So, what are the nine gates that are being talked about? The two ears, two eyes, two nostrils, one mouth, one opening for excretion, one opening for procreation. Okay. So, nine gates of this is a bodily fort. Now, what happens is once you see the objects of this world, then your mind runs out of these gates, and the senses and their interactions with the objects, it gains power over you. The enemy comes right in through these nine gates. It starts to affect your nervous system, it affects your mind, it creates havoc, it dethrones the soul who should ideally be the sole owner of this kingdom. But it is because of these openings, these gates. If the gates of the castle are well guarded, then the soul will remain as the owner and as the person in charge, as the king of this whole kingdom, and there will be peace in the kingdom of your body and mind. But it is because the gates of our body are not well guarded. We allow the sensations to give us tiny pleasures, but we forget that pain is coming right after, and we get deluded also because we think that this castle is all who we are. We forget that we are the owner of this castle and all castles. So once the sage realizes that he is the atman, then even though it is sitting inside the gated castle, still inside the fort which has nine gates, even then he is operating from a point where he is not in bondage, he is free, and he knows that he is not the doer directly. And even the senses, he is not asking the senses to do. It's, of course, he understands the nature that everything is being run by Prakriti, and yet he himself is that absolute bliss. He is separate. But the first thing that has to be done is that the gates of the nine gates of the bodily castle have to be well controlled. Once we are able to do this, then we will be able to sit as the king on the throne of our own city, of our own kingdom. And we will be victorious automatically in this battle of Kurukshetra, through which we are right now. Daily we are fighting a battle for joy, and that is the battle of Kurukshetra. So with that thought, we will end today's class, and we will share the blessings, the grace, the power, and the wisdom of these teachings with souls everywhere. Let us pray together. Divine Mother, thou art omnipresent, thou art in all thy children. Manifest thy healing presence in all bodies, all minds, and all souls. Om. 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 Divine Mother, beloved Lord Krishna, great Gurus, may thy love shine forever on the sanctuary of our devotion, and may we be able to awaken thy love in all true hearts. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.